For as long as I've been around, if you wanted a real farm ute, you had one option, a 70 Series Cruiser. They're simple, they're capable, but they're about as refined as a ride-on mower. However, on the farm, they're unbeatable. Until now, maybe. This is the Ford Ranger Superduty. It's the toughest mid-size ute Australia's ever seen, but is it good on the farm? What makes a good farm ute? For me, it's got to be tough, reliable, and it's also got to be fun, because who wants a boring ute? On paper, the numbers eclipse every other ute. A 4.5 tonne GVM, an 8 tonne GCM, and it'll tow 4.5 tonnes around too, but you've still got more than a tonne of payload when you're doing it. It uses the same diesel V6 and 10-speed auto as the standard Ranger, but it's been detuned slightly for durability reasons. But the numbers only tell half the story. I want to know what it's actually like to live with on the farm. All right, first task of the day, we've got to go pick up some fence posts from a local timber yard. We're going to run out there empty, see if you can notice that this is a little bit down on power compared to a normal Ranger, but then we'll come back with a trailer load full of logs. We'll run this thing right up near GCM, we'll chuck some stuff in the tray, then we'll head out into the paddock. Empty, it drives like a standard Ranger, but it does feel tougher. It's got a higher bonnet, wider arches, a slightly heavier steering feel, probably the result of bigger tyres and a wider wheel track. But it is still a Ranger. It's fairly quiet, comfortable and civilised, and it's got heaps of tech, so it's definitely more refined than the common alternative. So on the road, it does honestly feel pretty similar to a standard Ranger. I mean, the dash layout, similar bar, and Super Duty details, the 10-speed, the V6, it all feels the same, but I will say, it feels a bit bigger and a bit heavier on the road. You know, it's got a beefier bonnet to sort of look over. The steering feels a bit weightier. It's got 33-inch tyres, so there's a bit more going on. That's all very understandable. Can you feel that it's down on power? Yes. It does feel a little bit lazier than a standard V6 Ranger. I hate to admit it, but it does. However, considering that this thing competes with light trucks, it's a hell of a lot quicker than any of them. Is it quicker than a standard 70 Series too? Yeah. But, you know, how it drives on the road is only part of the picture. This is a farm ute, so at least that's what we're using it for. So I want to know how it goes off-road, you know, pulling the load, tray full of whatever you want to put in it. But, you know, it drives well. And what I like is that Ford have beefed this thing up from front to back. It's got a wider wheel track. It's got 8-stud truck hubs off an F250 Super Duty. It's got bigger diffs. You know, the chassis is reinforced. It's got bash plates under the whole car. You can apparently jack this thing up off the fuel tank. It's that reinforced. So they're the sort of things I'm interested in. You know, if this thing's going to spend its life in the paddock, I want to know that if I run over a big tree stump or a rock, I'm not going to puncture the fuel tank or, you know, destroy my transfer case. So it's the little things that Ford's thought of that I like. This thing's over-engineered. That part is very clear. All right, we're out at Poulger's logging at Kenilworth. We've loaded up. We've got a bunch of posts and we're heavy. We're up around 4 tonne on the trailer. And that's what sets this apart. It's got an 8 tonne GCM. So while a lot of other utes would be falling over right now, even with a GVM upgrade, we're good to go. And we've got a couple of tonnes of payload left for the tray. Speaking of, there's a pretty cool feature inside. Let's go take a look. So this thing's got onboard scales. It's sort of truck features coming into the ute market. Gives me an accurate weight of what's in my tray, and it factors in passengers and all of that. It also gives me my downball weight, so I can tell right now that we are right up around the towing limit in this thing, but that's fine. At least we know, at least we can do a bit of a check. So really cool feature. So we've just come down a pretty steep dirt hill out of the timber yard, and you can tell this thing's got better brakes than a standard Ranger. It tows really well. I don't necessarily know that I got 4 tonnes behind me right now, but I do. And coming down a pretty steep dirt hill, good to have the extra brakes. With a load on, it's definitely working harder, but the torque comes in early. It does feel a little bit lazier than a standard Ranger, but it feels like I've got that torque nice and low, and the gearbox and engine are tuned well together. It's holding gears and it isn't hunting around at all. The Super Duty was clearly built to tow, and it shows. It's a really well sorted tow rig. All right, we're back at the farm. We're gonna chuck a skid steer bucket in the tray, and then we're gonna head out in the paddock, drop this trailer off. We won't bore you with any of the fencing details, but then we've got a little surprise challenge. Making our way out, and so far so good. We're in full high, but I haven't messed with the off-road mode yet. It's got heaps of modes, by the way, for sand, mud, rocky terrain, you name it. A pretty thoughtful feature is the ability to delay DPF burns, which is important when you're driving through long grass like this. Last thing I want to do is start a fire here. All right, time to flick both the diff locks on because this gully is boggy as anything. Well, we're stuck. We may have been a bit ambitious pulling 4 tonne with a 600 kilogram skid steer bucket in the back, but look, I'm going to go out ahead and say it doesn't have the most aggressive tyres, so that's clearly a factor. We might dump some air and see if we can get out, but yeah, maybe we have found the limit a little bit. Would the 70 series have done it? I don't know. This is pretty heavy and it's surprisingly wet down here. It's sloppier than I expected. This doesn't mean we've failed. It just means we've got to get creative as to how we pull this thing out. Thankfully, being on a farm, we've got machines galore. We'll find a way out, but to be continued. Thankfully, it's light work for the trusty old Massey Ferguson. I reckon just about any ute would have gotten stuck there, short of maybe a Unimog. But that's all part of the fun, and with a more aggressive set of off-road tyres, or maybe even some bigger 35s, I reckon it'd have a better chance. Well, we're out, thanks to the Massey Ferguson. Bit of fun, and look, it's part of what you do on a farm. You get stuck, you got to drag something somewhere you probably shouldn't go. It happens. But I reckon it's tyre related. I just don't think that thing has the tyres for exactly what we were trying to do. We were running full road pressures, 40 pound, and they're just not a mud tyre. So we were going through deep mud and we're pulling a pretty heavy trailer that's not really designed for this. But we got out. Let's keep on pushing and see how it goes. Okay, we made it after a bit of fluffing around. So far, I'm pretty impressed. It's doing everything I need a farm ute to do. It does have a few beeps and bongs. That's the price of modern safety equipment. Everything's got that now. Get used to it. But it's done everything pretty well. I reckon with some better tyres, we would have made it through that little gully just fine. I'm not gonna bore you with any of this fencing. We're gonna find out if it ticks a box that I think every farm ute should. It needs to be fun. There are a few good little spots around here, so we're gonna go for a bit of a bash. My brother thinks he can get me bogged. I don't know about that. Let's go. Okay, trailers dropped. Now it's time to have some fun. A farm ute can't be boring. And that's one thing the Cruiser has always been good for. Let's see if all the electronics and drive modes are a killjoy, or is the Superduty still genuinely a fun ute to thrash around on the farm with? All right, so we've had a bit of a play. I mean, we still are off-road having fun. I think it's an important part of a farm ute. It needs to be fun. I've got a lot of fun memories in utes. And look, I got to admit, this is fun, but it's not the simple analog fun of, for example, a 79 like the one in front of us. It's doing a lot of stuff for me. It's an automatic. There's so many different drive modes. My diff locks are enabled via a screen. There's a lot more going on. In a 70 series cruiser or a simple farm, you're either in 4 high, 4 low, your diff locks are on or they're not. That's all there is to it. There's no drive modes, there's nothing else going on. Press the noisy pedal or the stop pedal, that's kind of all there is to it. But there's obviously a bit more going on here. It's not too technologically advanced. I reckon it is, a pretty damn good farm ute. So has the Superduty earned its place on the farm? Well, I think those 70 series LandCruisers will outlive all of us, but this thing proved to be capable, it proved to be comfortable, and aside from the tyres getting us stuck at one point, I think it can do everything that we need out of a farm ute. Is it going to last as long as a cruiser? I'd like to think, given the engineering efforts Ford's put in, that it would. And at $89,990 for a cab chassis, a single cab, it's not that much more expensive. This one comes in at about $111. It's got a bull bar, worn winch, snorkel, all the gear. But you can get into one of these for well under $100,000. So if you're a farmer that wants modern technology in a rugged, durable, capable package, I reckon the Superduty could be the ute for you. Now, better go build those fences. Thanks for watching. For more content like this, like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what would you rather in your garage? A trusty 79 series LandCruiser or this Ranger Superduty?